Okay, hello everyone. This is Enea from Clarusway. I'm here with Robin, one of our instructors, and today we have a very special event. So it is going to be the second, let's call it the second event about how to use ChatGPT in DevOps, right? In development and operation, let's call it. So let's say all of us together are going to learn some of the best practices and use cases of ChatGPT in DevOps. I can see that there are a lot of people here attending, and just to say something very shortly, there is a question and answer part there. You may ask any questions if you want, if I'm right, Robin. And our instructor Robin it may see the question if he finds time from what he's going to explain, and then we'll try to let's say give an answer if possible to that question. So yeah, among the things that we are going to talk about today is an efficient process of writing a Dockerfile for applications developed by developers. And also we'll examine the infrastructure and configuration area using Terraform. And we'll also focus on the AWS Cloud, right? Amazon Web Services. So I believe that is all that I had to say. This was just a short introduction of what is going to happen and what you are going to learn today. I will also be learning with you guys. I will just leave the stage to Robin now, and I'll try to enjoy the lesson with you. Yeah, so that's all. Robin, you may start.
Okay, thank you, Anaya, for giving me floor. It's always, good to have floor after you because you did all the, hardest thing for me. And could you please just give me a, feedback whether you are, hearing my voice?
So that I can hear your voice. Sorry about that. Yeah, and I can see the screen that you are sharing. I believe people here also can see.
All right, it's all right. It's all right. Good evening, guys. This is Robin, and I'm working as a DevOps instructor in Clarusway. Today, we are going to be covering up some, basic things for, ChatGPT in DevOps. Last workshop, we have done, a couple of things, how to use, ChatGPT in DevOps. We have touched some, the general points of ChatGPT. Today, we are going to dive a little bit deeper. And after that, I think the next sessions will be going deeper as well. So before just, directly doing some hands-on, we have some slides, and after that we are going to be covering up some tasks which were given some of our alumni after graduating this course. So if you are all set, we can start with just talking about the slides as well. So first, I'm sure you are familiar with the ChatGPT. Most of you guys are using them in your daily routine as well. What we are aiming to show you that how can we, use ChatGPT more effective during our, let's say, daily routines. So we have, some slides, and it's going to show us the advantages and some, cons of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, as you may know, it's a large language model, and it is based on the, the information which are lingering around the internet, and it is trained on the data set to text, to generate text like human-like responses. So when you, check the user interface for ChatGPT, you are going to see that it is very easy to use, very understandable. It's like, even some child who does know how to read and see, he or she is going to understand what's written there. So it is very capable of performing a wide range of language tasks, and I think it supports nearly 180 different languages as well. So in the IT, it also supports lots of coding skills like Python, Java, C, C++, Go, whatever you thinking of. So it is, very quick and in question answering, and also when you type something there, it's going to show you, okay, here's the solution, or here's what I have found in my, database. Okay. So the model's performance can be fine-tuned for specific application by training it as well. So we may, list its advantages according to, okay, guys, I think, by the way, you can, just write your question on the QA section there. I'm going to answer if I, find a time for it. So let's list the advantages of, the pros of ChatGPT. So it is writing very understandable task, like, human readable. So it's going to cost you nearly free, but if you want to go a little bit further, you are going to pay nearly $20 for ChatGPT 4, which is, very advanced application that sometimes maybe you can compose music, you can be writing, a long essay, or maybe you can drawing a picture as well. So in ChatGPT, you may use it in many languages, like, English, German, French, or, even Mandarin as well. So it is very fast. After you just, finish typing your question there, it's going to prompt you, let's say, okay, here is what I found in my database, or here is the solution to your question as well. So as I mentioned before, it is very easy to use because the user interface is very user friendly, and it's not, something very complex there. You are going to, see only what's written there. Okay. So beside this ones, we have some cons for ChatGPT. Okay, since the human languages can be very complex, and ChatGPT has no knowledge after 2021 September, sometimes it finds it very difficult to solve, let's say, your complexity. For example, if you type there in some vague clauses, it sometimes give you, the wrong answer as well. So it has been updated on 2021 on September, and since then it has very limited knowledge in some, especially some specific parts of areas. So sometimes it focuses the irrelevant parts of questions, such as, for example, if you have written there, let's say, very long code blocks, and you want to see the result, and it sometimes focus the things that written in the, let's say, command block. Okay, so yeah, sometimes we have also accuracy problems as well, but I can say that nearly 80% of accuracy we got when we use ChatGPT in general. Okay, yeah, there are some funny things ChatGPT as well. So as it shown in my screen, sometimes you are asking a very simple question and it understand it very differently. Okay, so our user want to see a word that evolved from a B, and the prompt is written there like dbase or something. Okay, so it's always good to be careful about what you are writing there and how to use it in your area as well. Okay, so this is very funny as well. So our user want to know how many countries are starting with the letter V, and it shows there there are no country that start with the letter V, but also we know that there are lots of countries starting with we have just list there at the right bottom of our screen as well. So sometimes you want to double check your its answer. Are you sure about that, or sometimes did you mean this one? And you see, it also confessed that its knowledge limited to September 2021. So after that, it has maybe very limited knowledge. But this is not the case in this one, because and these countries have been introduced, I think, far earlier than this one. Yeah, even in sometimes the math problems, we are going to see some very, big errors. Like on my screen, we are going to, give a very simple problems, and it shows the wrong answer as well. Okay, so as we know in, the classic mathematics, we start with multiplying the, numbers, but this may be not the algorithm behind the ChatGPT as well. Okay. Okay, this is the code that we have taken a very widely used magazine from the magazine, and this stage, as for DevOps practices, it is we should be very highly educated and very competent in our area to spot the mistakes, because in the AI, I mean, because ChatGPT is skimming nearly millions of data lingering around the internet, but it is rather than giving you solution or using them an assistant, it also make some augmentation for your application as well. So if you want to use it very effectively in your application, or let's say your websites or your jobs, you may use this ChatGPT as a, let's say, assistant. Of course, sometimes people are asking, can ChatGPT take our place in DevOps? Yeah, the answer should be 100% no, because we know Jenkins. Jenkins is like our assistant to do some very good jobs, like automating all the process. But even sometimes Jenkins is giving some error, like we should be monitoring them to make our application work flawlessly. Okay, so ChatGPT can help not only us but also the other teams to work faster in a harmony with every tools. Okay, so we can use it efficiently and with greater accuracy, but at the end of it, we should be checking what is written there, and if we want to provide some let's say non-sensitive data there, we should be 100% sure that okay, it is not going to be exposed to the internet. Okay, so for the slides, I think that's all for this point, and we can be moving on to hands-on as well. But before just going to hands-on, I'm going to show you the user interface. Last week, I have learned that it has some extra plugins like, let's say the voice control, and which is very useful. For example, if you find it to pronounce some words very let's say difficult, it's going to show you how to pronounce that words as well. Okay, so for example, I'm going to write a simple, very simple question. So what is the Python?
It seems like you might be asking about Python, the programming language. Python is a high-level, interpreted, and general-purpose programming language. It was created by Guido van Rossum and was first released in 1991. Python emphasizes code readability and simplicity, making it a
So you see, guys, it also gives you some pronunciation, helping. And also it is sometimes, yeah, you may find it very long and you don't need to, sometimes maybe you feel very lazy to read all those things. And it also, helps us to understand what's written there with, just, saying what the explanation. Okay, so which is very nice for us, right? Okay, guys, so if you don't have any question for this point, we can be moving on the hands-on. So for that reason, I have spin up an instance on my AWS account here, and I have created a folder like workshop 2, and now I'm going to make ChatGPT to write me 2 different files. So the one in Python, and our alumni has taken a task, and the company wants him to write a code block to show the S3 buckets in his AWS account. Okay, so it is very wise to use the correct words for writing your question to ChatGPT. Okay, For example, we can start, just writing what we are, what do we want from the ChatGPT as well. Okay, the first one, although as a DevOps engineer, we are not responsible for the code content, but we should know how code works and how to create a Dockerfile to make that code block to work in image or in container, so that we can deploy our application. It could be anything, or even simple Hello World application to deploy some different environment as well. So now I'm just starting to let's say ask a simple question to ChatGPT with writing it. Okay, sometimes you are the ChatGPT is not allowing you to upload a file into it, but if you just copy the file content to paste it there, it's going to show you the result as well. Okay, so I'm starting with my first question to ChatGPT. So write me a code block in Python that shows. By the way, you can sometimes make typo errors, but in ChatGPT, it's okay. It understands what should be written there, and it's going to give you an answer according to the real question, let's say. Okay, write me a code block in Python that shows S3 buckets in my AWS account. Okay, then I hit just enter, and you are going to see that the ChatGPT is going to give me a prompt that showing every single step. How can I, write a code, or how can I make that code work? Okay, so you see here, when you, just type your code, it's going to, give you some explanation at the beginning of it. Okay, so first of all, if I want to, deploy a simple application or make some application work in my AWS account, I should be installing some, let's say, the libraries in my AWS account, right? So I'm just copying this code block here. It's very, useful. It's, with only just simple click, you can copy whole the code block as well. Okay, so I'm just copying it, going back my VS Code to use my terminal. Under workshop, I'm just going to create a new file. Let's say give it a name like code.py, because it's written in Python, so extension should be .py. Okay, so just paste it there. Here we have some challenge. ChatGPT doesn't know what my credentials are. Okay, so sometimes you may use some different ways to provide your, let's say, the credentials there. For example, you can make AWS configure from your terminal, or sometimes you can create a volume, attach it to your application, so that you can store your credentials in it as well. Okay, before just doing this one, I have provided my credentials here, so I can just make this ones in a command block. Okay, so let's say maybe it will work, and if it doesn't work, it's all right as well. Okay, the line should be written in code block as well. Okay, sometimes we need to define some extra things. So if we are going to get an error, we may regenerate the response. Okay, so just click on it, and it's going to give you another, let's say, the code. Okay, here we have it as well. Okay, I'm just copying it from here, going back here. Okay, so maybe this is going to work as well. So yeah, let's give it a first try. And also we have another code block here. We can use this one. Okay, so we may use this one as well. Okay, so Let's make it work. You see, all of my, S3 buckets in my AWS account has been listed here. Okay, so from this point on, seeing that my codes are working, so as a DevOps engineer, I could be, creating a Dockerfile to make that, code block as an image, okay, to make it work in a simple container. So from this point on, my next step would be to create a simple Dockerfile for this code block, okay? So I can write it, I can make ChatGPT write for me as well, okay? So write me a Dockerfile for this code block, okay? But you should be, very careful about to provide some extra information here, because I'm going to show you something up here. Okay, yeah, you see, guys, our application should be, named like according to this one, list s3 buckets.py, but we have added that, like, a simple code.py as well. Okay, so just copy this one from here, get back to AWS, the VS Code. Under this one, new file, Dockerfile should be, written like this one, starting with the capital letter of D, but we have no extension for Dockerfile, right? So just, paste it there. Does it work? It doesn't work, right? Because we should be now, let's say, changing the name of our application, let's say the code block, right? So I can add this one here, like code, and I can be, just taking this ones. Okay, just hold on, guys. Here, okay. So seems we are nearly ready for it, and I want to draw your attention to here that after, the ChatGPT generates some code blocks or some file, after that it's going to give you some, explanation how to use this one. Okay, so here, after, creating the Dockerfile, it's going to give you some steps that you need to follow to make this Dockerfile or your, let's say, code block to follow up. Okay, so I should be, copying this code because this is the CLI command for me, and I'm going to get back here. But if I, run this code, it's not going to work, right? Because my code block is not, written in there, right? So let's say Python, give it a name to our application. Okay, so we are not, running this command under the, correct folder. So for that reason, I'm just going back to int. So here, I think our code block is going to work. You see, my Docker files are, working. First, it's checking my local, whether I have this, the image or not. And after that, it's going to create me a new Docker images so that I can make this code block work, okay? So while, creating this one, we can check the other steps, okay? So if I want to run my code in the, let's say the simple application, I should be running this command, okay? But I should be, changing some part because this is not the image name that I have given to my application as well. So I'm just copying this one from here, getting back my terminal, okay? So paste it here, but don't forget to change your image name here, okay? Image name, we have, specified up here, right? Oops. Okay, we can take other one as well. So yes, you see, guys, sometimes, it's going to give you some extra, error, and you should be prepared for it because every time you run something different, it's going to give you some different let's say it's going to give you something different solution, I mean. Okay, so before doing this one, I should be running the command again to build my application here under this one, I mean, but I have given the code Python in it. So it's going to be created according to my newly created Dockerfile. Okay. So after that, I'm going to make it run. You see, my file has been listed here. So that means we are done with this one. Okay. So let me move on the other example for Java code. And it is, kind of different task from this one. And it is, giving me some task that shows the current time zone and the current time for me. So I can, write it here directly, or I can make it, a little bit prettier in my mind so that I may want the exact answer from the, I may, want the answer in my mind from the ChatGPT as well. So if I don't get the desired answer, I can, just click on the regenerate response. So it's going to regenerate its response as well. So here, let's make it run for, writing a simple code. Write me a code block in Java that shows the time zone and current time. Then hit enter. Of course, I can, open the voice control, and it's going to, give me some more. Okay. So this is the simple code block in Python. So since Python could be, let's say, compiled language, I should be creating two-stage Dockerfile as well. If I, create a simple Dockerfile, I mean one-stage Dockerfile, it's not going to work, right? Because I should first compile the code itself. Okay. So let's create a different. Let's clear this one. Okay. So under workshop, let's create a new folder and give it a name like Java here. And under Java, let's first get into it. Under Java, I should be taking exactly the name from ChatGPT, because in the class and the file name should match, right? So I just, copied this one. Okay. Getting back this one and creating new file. Let's say Java, and I'm going to, let's say code.java. Okay. So let's paste the content in here. And after that, if I get back to ChatGPT, it's going to give me the file name as well. Okay. So this one. Okay. So if I don't, let's say, like this code block, I can regenerate it as well. Okay. So it's going to give me a different things. Here, this is something different from this one, right? Okay. Sometimes it's going to give you like, this is, better, or let's say the worse. So it's up to you guys. Okay. So we can take its content from here, get back to here. Okay. This is something different than it. And let's say, first, let's check whether it's working or not. Okay, so you see here, I should be now creating some extra things For that reason, I'm going to take one of my, previous code that I'm going to explain it shortly. Let's get back to our workshop in Java. Okay, paste it here. And my, let's say here, okay. I'm just, renaming it, just copying it from here and getting back to my code Java here. Just rename it here because I should be given exactly the same name. Okay, hit enter. Let's make it work. Okay, you see my current time is this one, and my time zone has been written there. So I have get this one with using some extra generative response, okay, from the ChatGPT itself. So from this point, I may want it to create me a two-stage, multi-stage Dockerfile, so that the code should be compiled. Okay, so let's make it right there. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. Docker. Oh. But it's going to be a multi-stage, right? So multi-stage. Oh, this got bug. Okay. Yeah, it's like creating a new multi-stage Dockerfile. The first steps is going to open GDK as a build. It's going to build and compile your code, and after that, it's going to create a new, let's say, application that's going to be under a Docker image, so that we can make it work in container or compile it as a Docker image as well. Okay, so I'm going back my here, just getting the content of my Docker file. So under Java, I'm just creating a new Docker file here. Hit enter. You see, it has been written here. So from this point, I should be just running some codes in what we have learned in Docker to make this application as an image. Okay, so if you check the content up here, it's going to even give you how to run a command or what command you should be running against your let's code block. Okay, so I'm just copying it from here, getting back my terminal. Okay, just hold on, guys. Yeah, you see my Docker file has been creating. So first it's checking my local whether I have this the image or not, and after that it's going to be build it as well. Okay, so from this point on, I just only run Docker run commands. Okay, so Docker run --it. This is optional, so that we can use, you see, we can use RM to not consume our resources. Okay, so you can be just copying it from here, or you may want it to be right by your hands. Okay, so let's stick by the code. Okay, so hit enter, and it's going to give you exactly the result that I wanted to be right there. Okay, so here what we have seen so far is to create two different application. One is written in Java, the other one is written in Python, and we have created a Docker files, and you see Sometimes we need to provide some extra informations, and sometimes we need to, very well aware of what's, written in the code. Okay. Of course, as a DevOps engineer, we are not going to be responsible for the code content, but, we should know, for example, Java should be compiled at first, right? So for that reason, we are, just using the ChatGPT as our assistant. Okay, it is not full, let's say 100% trustworthy, but accuracy is very, high. Okay, so for that reason, we are using ChatGPT in our daily routines to make some, sometimes simple jobs, or sometimes maybe we encounter very wide range of, let's say, the complex problems. ChatGPT is going to help us to do, to make our application work as well. Okay, so I think to wrap up, we may, just take a look at the ChatGPT user interface as well. So here it's going to, keep your history up to 30 days. And at the beginning of it, it's going to, you may, create a dashboard, like giving some specific folder into it. Okay. So for now, do you have any questions so far, by the way? Please ask your question in the QA channel so that we can answer your questions. If you don't have any question, I think it's the end of our the second workshop. But in the following workshop, we are going to create a new infrastructure with using Terraform and Ansible. Of course, from this point on, we, in this workshop, we focused on how to create a Dockerfile, not even the code. Sometimes even we may take an error from the code. That's all right. Okay. But in the Dockerfile, for example, Python and Dockerfile is very well going. I mean, they are going really get along a duo. Okay. So it is, accuracy is very high, but in the Java or sometimes the other languages, you may find it very difficult to create a Dockerfile itself. Okay. So I think, we finished our second workshop. I guess I haven't steal your time. Thank you for listening me with patience. Okay. So let me check the, chat, whether you guys are having any questions so far. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you for attending this workshop. I try to make it very, simple and short for you. Yeah, that's all from me. If you don't have any question, we can, finish our session up here. I'm checking the QA channel and I see no question there. Okay, have a great evening to everybody. Hope to see you in the next upcoming workshops. Thank you for listening to me with patience. Have a great evening.